to Geek Girls. Today we're coming to you with a different video. This video is going to be a character overview for Once Upon a Time seasons 1 through 6. Our main character we have is Emma Snow, which was approached by her adoptive son. The son that she gave away, actually, Henry, in the beginning of the show.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert, sorry. But this is like the first 5-10 minutes of the show, basically. And he comes to her, approaches her, and basically explains that she is the daughter of Snow White and Prince Charming. She gave him up when she was very, very young. She's never set eyes on him. And she basically thinks this little boy is bonkers. So the first episode, she is sending him back to where he belongs and saying, hey, I'm going to take you back home. And this is it. Like, this is just get out of my life, pretty much. Snow White is obviously her mother, we come to find out, and Prince Charming. However, in the fantasy world that's in the storybook world. In the reality world they live in, which is our time, she's just Mary Margaret, a school teacher. Isn't she a school teacher? Librarian? Yeah, she's a school teacher. Prince Charming is the sheriff, I think.
At the time he's
David.
unemployed.
Yes, okay, David's unemployed. So he's David. I forget his last name on there, but he's in the coma. Yep. That is right. He becomes a sheriff later. Sorry, you guys. Anyway, he's in a coma, and their connection, of course, is still strong because it's living happily ever after. So.
But there's a reason as to why he's in the coma, which has to deal with what happens in
the later episodes.
Yeah.
So, but basically, just an overview of this show is your storybook characters living in our real world. A curse happened and they're not familiar with their storybook characters. And they live actually in a city called Storybrooke. Oh, that was tongue twister. Okay, so Henry, as I said, is the son of Emma, and Emma is the daughter of Snow White and Prince Charming. And here is the mayor, the evil queen, Regina. She actually adopted Henry. So that's a very interesting twist within the story. Now, all the characters that you pretty much know, Rumpelstiltskin, his name is Mr. Gold in reality. Mr. Hopper, Dr. Hopper is Jiminy Cricket in Storybook World. You come across a lot of storybook characters that you're familiar with in this series, and the show is very addictive. Do not make you think like, oh, this is for kids and I just can't relate. It's not fun to watch. It's very much so fun to watch, and you see your storybook characters coming to life, and they go all over the globe. You have your main characters from week to week. Then you have additional characters.
And we don't want you to assume that this is going to be the exact same video that we actually came out with a little while ago, which was just the overview of Once Upon a Time. In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to break down a little bit more of the actual characters as far as who some of our favorite characters are and what we've enjoyed about them from season to season.
Yes.
So for me, some of my... This is, I guess, one of the only times when I pretty much like all the baddies. I love Rumpelstiltskin's character. I love Regina's character up until a point. Regina, once she got to season 3, maybe 4, I really started enjoying because they actually put more into her storyline.
Yes.
Her original storyline was her hatred for Snow White. And what's the song, Push It to the Limit? Boy, did she. However, once we got to, I think, about a season 3, maybe the back half of season 3, they started to give her more character progression and development and tweak her storyline. So I really started to enjoy where they went with her character. So by now that we're in season 6, we've seen her be the evil queen to a redeemed character. We're not going to spoil how she was redeemed, but that actually goes down. The thing that I like about Mr. Gold's character for me is the fact that you know what you're getting when you deal with Mr. Gold. He always has an ulterior plan. He's always thinking 17,000 steps in front of everybody else. And that's just the way it is. Which kind of leads me to one of my least favorite characters, not my all-time least, because that would be Hook. But one of my least favorite characters would be Belle, because she, they do a lot with her storyline, and it's intertwined with Rumple's character. And the reason why I say that is because with a lot of the characters on Once Upon a Time, they sometimes play a dual role, okay, without spoiling it for someone who hasn't seen the show. So her character is very much intertwined with Mr. Gold. And the thing that I don't like about her character is she acts like she doesn't know who she's with. Like,
spoiler alert.
Oh, about them being together? Yeah, that is kind of one. My bad, peeps. But at the end of the day, when you get with a character who has these type of character traits, even though he tries to be a good man, he is who he is, the way his character is written. And so she always goes on these different tyrants about, and this and that and the third, but it's like, this is who you married, and you know this is who you married. So yeah, my ultimate least favorite character would be Hook. I'm sorry, I know a lot of people ship him with a certain character. I know how season 6 ends, but for me, he is the one character that no matter what he does, there's always this reason why he did it, versus if anybody else did that on the show, it would be like, oh, you're such a bad person. And I think that's what I don't like about his character, the fact that no matter what he does, it's like, oh, well, it's Hook, and so,
let's make allowance for it.
We'll make an allowance for it, or whatever the case may be. So that would be my least favorite character. I will say, I know you touched on it on the previous video, but I will say that I do enjoy the characters that they interweave to the story from that fairy tale that you did not see coming. I think that is one thing that Once Upon a Time does a good job with. Now, devil's advocate, I know there are going to be some people that say, well, it's about fairy tale characters. And yes, it very much so is. But they do a good job of changing what you think you know. Like, if you watch this show, or if you haven't, and if you do get a chance to watch it based on our recommendation, and you find out who Rumpelstiltskin's father is.
Yes, that was
and how all of that went down.
Yes.
Like, boom.
Yes.
Like, right off the rip.
Then when they intertwine about the author and all of that, and how they'll go from our world to other worlds, it's
and you'll meet a character who you think is not important, and then that person has something to really do with what's transpiring. I think, though, out of all the seasons, the only season that I didn't care for too much, I know that, some people may say something in the comments, but me, was Frozen. And that's because I wasn't a fan of the movie.
Yeah.
So
it didn't really appeal to us.
It didn't really resonate with me at all. But for the most part, even if it's been a season where it's been okay for me, I have faith that they're going to pull it back together. And the season ending for season 6 was awesome.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Left me in such a good spot. So
do you have a bad season though?
No, because even season 4 wasn't bad. It was just that
it was different because it's Frozen. That's
and then, to be honest with you, the storyline of the Snow Queen was pretty good. It was a pretty decent story. Some of the other Frozen characters took it out for me. Yeah, to be honest with you.
I mean, all in all, I don't have my favorites really. I don't have any characters that I necessarily dislike. I think all in all, the show is wonderful. I love how they bring in other people. You have Mulan coming there. You have Cruella de Vil. You have so many...
Maleficent.
You have so many characters. What's her name?
Even little name characters that most people wouldn't put in their TV show, they find a spot for.
Yeah, they'll find, like, they're just... Aladdin, Ursula, yes, just all these different Medusa. Yeah, Medusa's in there. Okay, just all these different characters. I love the way it blends, and then it still makes it very. It mixes in with everyday situations. I guess I can kind of say, even though they have the magical spin to it, and the
So it's relatable.
yes. But I mean, I'm just trying
joke.
to bring that point across, just because I don't want you to think that it's just like, oh, they're living in a fantasy world and la-di-da and go about their business, and they have everyday situations as well,
and there's real stakes,
they
because
bring in, yes,
the land without magic becomes the land with magic, and we think that now everything is going to go back to the way it was in the fairy tale land, which is known as the Enchanted Forest.
And what about
but it still
her
doesn't.
sister? When her sister comes, some of these names I'm forgetting, but when her sister comes, and the one that she was in love with, Regina's sister.
Oh,
Regina's sister, but then the guy that was in love with her, with that whole story, and we went off, and there's just so many different lands and different like alternate realities, I guess, that on this show that they deal with and intertwine with, and then we come to find out who even Henry's father is. Like that's a big cliffhanger on the show. That whole storyline, yes, so many.
Cliffhanger got resolved. You mean at the time?
At the time, it was a cliffhanger.
Okay.
Yeah, at the time. I'm not saying now. Now the cliffhanger. We haven't watched the new season, but the way it ended was just. I can see this show easily going on for another 3, 4, 5 seasons.
It just depends on how people take the changes that they made. You know what I'm saying?
They made some drastic changes, but I feel it was good. I can't wait to see where this is gonna go. But some people get attached to things being one way. So, but it's a wonderful. It's definitely a wonderful show. I'm glad that I started watching it when I did, when it first came on, actually.
So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and bring this video to a close. The question of the video is, if you have seen Once Upon a Time, what was your favorite season and who are your favorite characters? And we will have a couple of end cards and a playlist at the end of this video that you are more than welcome to check out. Please come back to our channel. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we will have our review up of the first, I think there'll be maybe first 6 to maybe 8 episodes by the time we take a look at it of season 7 of Once Upon a Time. And we hope that we'll have a favorable review for that as well. And even if you haven't had a chance to watch the show, we don't want to leave you out. So if you just want to comment below whether or not this would be a show that you would watch, we'd love to hear your thoughts on that. We are all about engagement on this channel and not just hearing us talk podcast style. So make sure to like the video, share this with friends, subscribe if you're new. And as always, you guys, you know the deal. Stay geeky.